Situations like this, it's seeing the pastors that used to care for us. I mean, they taught us that we were gods, we were kings, that we could do whatever we put our minds to, and it really sunk into us. And now, seeing that this place was built in 1982, I was 2 years old, it makes me say to myself, how many seeds I'm planting in others that when I'll be long gone, that they'll come back and will I have a place like this? And it just gives me inspiration.
Hello everybody. So this is my artwork and part of my art process, and a lot of my message is find peace of mind. So you'll see a few themes surrounding these images, a lot to do with the eyelids and the eyelashes, and a lot of the artwork I create is to invoke a sort of peaceful feeling of sort of just calmness with yourself and a healthy isolation, I should say. So these are 3 different pieces that are important to me in many different ways. I'll start with this banner. So I created this, and this was a school assignment. I'm studying at the University of Southern California right now, and the assignment was to create a banner that would show a place. So this place that I had in mind was peace of mind. So what would that look like? What would somebody crossing this banner think as soon as they see it? Do they see a tree? Does that take them somewhere? Do they see the clouds? Do they see the moon, the stars, and what that means to them? And really, I wanted to be intentional with the sort of tones and colors that I was selecting so that it would give off and read as something peaceful. And peace of mind is so important to me because it's a part of my process, as well as just a guide for me throughout life.
Adisah coming and presenting for our Juneteenth Youth Summit. Again, this is a spinoff from our Dina Juneteenth. For those of you that just joined us, this is a discussion about like what Juneteenth means to us. We're talking about freedom, things of that, and how we express ourselves. These are discussions that we want to continue and want to grow. And so we invite you to take our survey and be mindful of what you're saying. And so, because that's what's going to give us feedback on what we should and shouldn't do. At this time, we got our very, 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 very special guest coming to the stage. Her name is Tiffany, and she has an active workshop that we're going to be doing and not just listening. So everybody get ready. Let's give her a warm welcome as she comes to the stage and graces us with our Juneteenth art piece.
All right, team, welcome, welcome. Here you are. I'm gonna go around and just pass out with that to everyone. So I'm gonna go ahead and place mine. I took my sticker off. I'm gonna go ahead and place it now onto my yellow tab here. But yes, Pierre, I will absolutely agree that when I think of spoken word, I absolutely think about speaking out, right? Using our voice to be able to say what we are feeling on the inside to make sure someone else is able to feel exactly what we're feeling, right? With spoken word, we already know that spoken word is needed. Our ancestors used it, right? Definitely when we think about us being in bondage, that's what got us through bondage was music, dance, Definitely music, dance, spoken word has been a part of our culture for so long that we can't lose it now, right? We have to continue it. With that being said, we know that spoken word also propelled us. It was a catalyst for politics, right? We know Martin Luther King used his words. We know that Sojourner Truth used her words. We know that Maya Angelou used her words, right? Our words are truly our struggle to freedom, right? That's our struggle to freedom, is utilizing our words, making sure that our words are heard, making sure that we're okay to speak our words, making sure that we're okay to be ourselves, making sure that we know that we belong. And all of that is needed, and we only can embrace that much more through the arts. We'll go off to, did anyone else have a question that maybe they wanted to answer? No? Feels good? You do? Okay, let's do it.
This one says, explain the time when you learned something from someone who was different from you. I think that's every day, right? And the beautiful part about this one is the more we know about each other, the more we can begin to respect one another. Before I was really closed-minded, and I was like, you stay on your block, I stay on my block. Just humbly speaking, being an ex-gang member, it was just all about me and my clique. And now, as an adult, I use so much time to try to learn different cultures, learn different races, learn different things, different foods, because I was so excluded from that. So this is a big piece for us to keep doing, keep learning.
Yeah, I agree. Participate as well. Awesome, let's do it. Floor is yours.
So my question is, can people who have differences get along, and how? Not to sound cliche, but embracing the differences and kind of like Josiah said, understanding that there's something to learn from everybody, and understanding that our differences don't make us opposites, or it doesn't mean that we cannot be together and form a community. It just means our community is going to have levels and layers. And that our friendship or getting along might look different than someone who's exactly like you, but it can still work, and it can still be a beautiful relationship or a beautiful thing.
Can I add to that?
Yes, please.
I think sometimes it's easy, especially for adults, as we're getting older, and our youngsters are embracing all the change, and they're so comfortable with it, and we're still like, okay. And you'll meet people, you feel the pushback, and you think, okay, I'm in your space, so I'll back off. But I find that are we both mothers? Right there, we have that in common. We have the same worries for our babies. We have the same concerns for our families. Just the little, what are we gonna make for dinner tonight? Or how are we gonna put food on the table? All that stuff. So I find common ground in the daily things with people. I feel like that's a good way for me to sometimes connect with someone when I feel them like pushing me away.
Since the camera came this way, I guess I'll go ahead and read mine. Should someone's appearance impact the opportunities they have? Why or why not? I would say no. But in the society that we live in, we see that that's definitely the opposite. And it's not even just appearance. It has to do with gender. It has to do with education. It has to do with a lot of stuff. And so it should not, your appearance definitely should not impact the opportunities that you have. And I'll leave it there.
All right, well, yeah. That you guys, what you're doing now is already spoken word, right? You guys have no idea that you are speaking your truths right here, right now. What you're not doing is writing on paper, but you're feeling it. You already felt exactly, your answers were coming from here, None of that came from here. You might have to think about what you were saying, but none of that came from here. You didn't have to process, because here is what's right and what's wrong. Here is, what am I loving? What am I feeling, right? How do I feel about this? Because sometimes you may feel great, and sometimes you may feel uncomfortable, right? But at the end of the day, what you just did right now is already spoken word. And sometimes I think we think of spoken word as something that needs to be a written down poem. that has to have a certain verbatim to it, right? A certain rhythm to it. That's not spoken word. Spoken word is literally going ahead and speaking what you feel in that moment, just like you guys did at this moment.
All right, let's give Miss Tiffany Hockenhull another big round of applause, guys. It's not easy to get up here before us and do these things, so thank you so much for getting up here and showing and displaying us these beautiful Juneteenth ornaments. I'm really looking forward to making mine and hanging it on the fridge when I get home. At this moment, we're gonna have a word from our host, Ms. Tina Williams. Please, everyone, this is Harambe's home. They've graciously opened it to us. So please, let's give Ms. Tina Williams a big round of applause.
Like you said, I'm Tina Williams. I'm the Director of Community Engagement for Harambe Ministries here. Been around for 40 years. This is where we started, on the corner of Howard and Navarro. Our founders over there, John and Mira May Perkins. They came from Mississippi. They have a ministry there. And then they came back to California and started here. And Harambe is Kiswahili from Kenya. And it means, translated loosely, let's get together and push. So some folks say its origins are Indian, but in any case, it means the same thing. People, what do you want? And they said, we want a safe place for our kids to go to after school. So we began with after school programs, Good News Club, we made t-shirt making, we had catering here, we had a K through 6 school, preschool, you name it, we've had it. Every iteration you could possibly imagine, we've done it here in this room and the other rooms. So these were originally homes that were converted into ministry buildings. Got about 7 of them. And another part of what Dr. Perkins believed and taught was that in order to break the poverty cycle, you need to relocate to the area of need, the area that's been marginalized, the area that has been under-resourced, right? So right here where we are, this is where the black and brown people were relegated by the city of Pasadena to live. We couldn't live in other places. And then you get on top of that, there wasn't upward mobility because the kinds of jobs that we needed, we weren't given the opportunity to have and apply for. But there still was a population of professionals and working class people in this neighborhood who've been here for generations. But what also happened, unfortunately, to this neighborhood is in probably the late 70s, late 60s, 70s, and I grew up around Altadena and went through PSD. And I remember, you see this gray hair, when it hit our communities, and that was the influx of drugs into urban communities. And we think it was by design, quite honestly, because it wasn't happening before. And with that, you got a proliferation of crimes related to that. Criminalization of people and all the process that we're going through now. So when that hit, it just complicated matters. But Dr. Perkins and his family, when folks came to Harambe, they came and just said, we're gonna come alongside of folks in the neighborhood and we're gonna see what we can do when we all get together and push. And so you'll hear that a lot when you hear about Harambe. Let's get together and push. Push out the things that we want. Push for affordable housing. Push for better jobs. Push for what we want in our community. Push for reconciling. So going back in time and learning the history of the place and that we live is so, so important. And that's what the Center for Racial Rec can help focus on. Right of redlining happened in the city of Pasadena. There were racial covenants, restrictions, there are actual legal documents that my husband shows when he does the training that shows you cannot sell your property to a black person. And sometimes it was a Jewish person or both. Okay, so those are racial restrictions on where we could live, and that impacts us today. So we have that history, combined history to learn about and to understand so that we can move forward. And that's part of what I try to do is, talk about the systemic things that are happening in our city that are keeping our people oppressed. And mainly the black and brown people of this community have been the ones, but the Japanese American community had its issues here too. So it's a lot to take in at once. I don't want to overwhelm you guys, and I'm sorry I got all this stuff going on in my head, and it's like, how do I get that information to our people so that we can process it, so that we can prepare to come against those forces that try to keep us oppressed. That's it. Sorry, y'all. Thank you.
Ms. Tina Williams, thank you so much for that brief history, and there was no apology needed. That's what this moment is for. We thank you for what you do.
Oh, you're welcome.
At this time now, we got lunch for those of you that just walked in. So please, we got Perry sandwiches, thanks to my guy Perry. We got some great sandwiches. If you haven't had a Perry sandwich, you're missing out. We're gonna teach you what it's all about, Dina. We wanna thank again all of our presenters. We have a quilt making project that we're gonna do as well, that these young ladies are gonna show us how to do in the back here. This is gonna be my first time quilting. Who's a first time quilter by show of hands? Okay, so Brandon, you leading the way. Come on. Well, we're about to get it in. Again, I wanna thank you all for your support. This is what it's about. We're talking freedom, we're talking unity. We're talking about coming together and making our choices as a community to uplift our people as one. And we thank you all for joining us. As my friend Quest said, this is the seed that we're planting to make a forest of people and participants to bring about change that we want to see in this world. Thank you.
I'm making the shoe fly. This is actually from the Underground Railroad, and it tells the people that are trying to get free. This told them enslaved people there were Underground Railroad helpers here. So I like that because I want to help people.
Are you doing the same one? No, mine is Underground Railroad.
Mine is the helpers who live here.
Oh, okay.
Yours is
So mine is the Underground Railroad the code. It's a quilt. Gotta make it shiny and presentable.
Yeah.
So where will this quilt go after you guys make it?
This quilt is going to the Altadena Public Library.
Oh wow! So it's actually
Yeah.
going in the library.
Actually going somewhere.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm about to be a part of history.
Exactly. We're excited to put it up there, and they're excited to have it. They're going to put it on display in the entrance.
Oh really?
In the entrance or in the kids area.
That's what's up.
Hi, my name is Tracy Phillips Fordich, and I am a volunteer with Black Founded and Black Led My Tribe Rise, which does community work here in Altadena and surrounding areas. And I became a part of My Tribe Rise when I attended the Pasadena Altadena March for Peace after the murder of George Floyd. And I saw Heavenly Hughes speak, and she was so dynamic, and I wanted to know who this woman was and what My Tribe Rise was doing in the community. From there, I researched them and ended up doing clothing drives for My Tribe Rise to go out to the community. Ended up leading our first and second annual toy drives, Adopt a Family Christmas toy drives, and heading the kids' community art at all her community events. I love to do collaborative art with the kids and talk about how we are stronger together, regardless of where we come from, what we look like, what we do, what our beliefs are. We can all contribute to something beautiful and strong, and the kids love it. It's so fun. And so for Juneteenth, we decided to do a replica of African American quilts, in which the quilting symbols were used to communicate between enslaved peoples what was happening when they were going to use the Underground Railroad. So some symbols communicated that it was time to pack up and get ready to go. Others communicated that they needed to follow the geese flying north or follow the North Star. Others communicated that there was a creek coming up, and the creek also had to do with losing scent when you were traveling. Others communicated that it was a safe house. So we're creating replicas by collage, the little ones colored, and this quilt will be hung in the Altadena Library, along with some books, children's books, talking about Juneteenth. So you can find this there for the next couple weeks, and hopefully we're finishing it today. Thank you.
So I'm just gonna work on my piece to add to the quilt. Adding to the quilt means a lot because it reminds me that it takes all of us to come together to have something such as that, right? A quilt is used usually for cover, right? So being able to even be a part of this is amazing, but it's one of those things where I heard someone else say, it reminds me of being there during those times. It truly reminds me of my ancestors and what they did and how much they went through to make sure we were able to do this today, and make sure we could come together today to keep that strength going, to keep that knowledge going, to keep that wisdom going, to keep that community, that connection going. And that's what a quilt is. It's all about connection, right? A quilt comes together with different pieces, and it's all about making sure we all know that we belong. I belong, you belong, we belong. So that's what it's about.
The struggle is not over. It's not going to be over until we say so. And we have been beaten down so much to stop trying. That's why one of the reasons why this type of forum is necessary every day. Because we need to carve out our own space within this space and train our kids in our own way. My dream is to have a building, a place such as this, where all we do is teach our traditions, our culture, our language, all of them. Because they have Chinese school, Armenian school, even Mexicans. We need to have African. It's a must for us. Because our plight is much deeper than everybody else. And what happened is they took the language. Once they took the language, they've taken everything. So we got to get it back. So for me, I teach 2 African languages, Yoruba and Igbo. And I teach African history. Not the way they do here. Here we all have been miseducated because we're learning their curriculum, not ours. So the danger is many of our people, even though all of us suffer the same fate, they have given up in terms of identification of who am I. They just believe in who the other guy say. And we'll have a tug of war on that.
And as we wrap up today, I want to thank everybody that attended this Juneteenth Youth Summit. Mad love to LA versus Hate, my tribe, all the presenters and speakers. And as I'm thinking and just dwelling on this recap, it's the words of Baba that stuck with me from Rhythm of the Village. He said, what does freedom mean to you? And it left me thinking that freedom to me is just being able to speak freely how we spoke, dress how we want to dress, love how we want to love, and grow how we want to grow. But most importantly, being a unit to where we all teach one another through this spiritual journey that we're on, and not be hateful, not be spiteful. You know, don't be on this materialistic journey where you're trying to just consume things, but you should just be really trying to consume and give love, and consume as much love and understanding as human nature can possibly allow. Speaking with some of these youth, I see that we are the light to the darkness for them. You know, we are that water that's going to help them grow like a plant. And so I just really thank all our mentors and all our funders that are making these opportunities possible for us to create safe spaces. Mad love to the Harambe team for opening up your home to us and sharing what you're trying to do. Since the birth of this place in 1982, not only has it touched my life and so many others, but now I'm here teaching, and we have an opportunity to bring it back home and give some enlightenment back to the youth that are coming up in today's world, to teach them that they're gods and kings and queens as well. So most importantly, man, again, I just love you all. Ashe, stay tuned. 2023 is about to be a deadly year. I keep saying it, we know the data points, we know our narrative, and we are damn sure we know our action items now. And it's to continue spreading joy, continue spreading love, continue bringing harmony to our community. And as an individual that used to bring so much hate and so much negativity, it's an honor for me to be alive and to be moving this movement. I look forward to working with you all and more to change this narrative that we created of hatred and spread more love.